Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Jim and Sam Town Square. I'm your host back again, Scott King. Jim and Sam fans know me from the Forbes articles, and I'm joined again by multi-Emmy award-winning television producer Chris Cangilla. Chris, this episode we're recapping week 1 of July 2023, but last week when I was on vacation, you did a phenomenal job. It's not easy, I know, from when you were on vacation to host a show by yourself, but you made me feel like I missed out on an excellent week. I only listened about a few hours, but great job, man. I know it's not easy.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's weird because I was really noticing how much saliva was in my mouth, and yet my mouth was dry. I don't know. And you can't go get something to drink in the middle. You're supposed to carry the whole thing. So it was a new experience for me. But it was a great week. And I'm sorry you did miss some of that stuff because we got to see a lot of new things. Do you remember anything that you would like to know more about or can't wait to hear more about?
So I will say this. It was cool to listen to the break on Disney Adults while I was there and then give my 2 cents on it from the town square in Disney at Magic Kingdom. I think I gave my kind of my wrap on that whole thing. But just to go over my trip again, I will say Travis, I did pick his brain and slid into his DMs, and he thought it was a good idea to stay at the Animal Kingdom Lodge where we stayed. And he said the restaurants were great, which they were. But man, you wake up and most days there were giraffes right past our balcony. It was so awesome. And the new rides at Disney, like Guardians of the Galaxy is phenomenal. I hadn't seen the Star Wars section yet. My middle son is 5 and he's really into Star Wars right now. So he built a lightsaber, not quite like the Teft, the metal ones that can be hundreds of dollars. He built one for like $20 around there out of plastic, but he built his lightsaber. Then he went by the Millennium Falcon and Chewie was there taking pictures. It was
That's
awesome.
Great.
Everyone had a blast, man. Won't forget it. And I was happy to check in from the town square.
It's great to have you back. Like we said, the lifting by yourself is not a pleasant thing. But while you were gone, I received a gift. And I think when you got back home, you saw your gift, right?
Waiting for me.
What do we got?
So we got our Edna Faust cold coffee shirts from Triumph Printing. And I got to say, I don't need a big thank you or anything. Least I can do. I did purchase these because I didn't want to use Jim and Sam's good name. So they're excellent shirts.
Yeah, they're nice guys too. They're very cool, and so thank you for that. And
least I can do for you and all your efforts, and they're awesome shirts. My kids were pumped. My kids love Edna Faust.
How can you not? Right? How can you not?
Real quick, you asked me what I was bummed I missed. I caught a little bit of Cooper. Some more about him last week. It was great to hear. I caught some of Cooper hearing little Jimmy's stories, and something that you got me up to speed on when we were talking before that I didn't know I missed was that Coop does stand up. I think I heard you talk about that on the last show. That's really interesting. I think he kind of laughs at all the things I think and we probably think is funny on the show. So getting to know a little bit more about Cooper, hearing that Jimmy's girlfriend was out and he started watching Succession again and may have redecorated. I'm mad I missed
find out.
Things. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. That should be amazing.
Yeah, I hope that guys, like I said in the previous podcast, I hope the guys go and check out maybe one of Cooper's sets, or maybe we get to hear a little bit about that. That'd be kind of cool. So what are we going to do this week with the guys on vacation? What are we going to do?
I got to give you some credit. You were brainstorming while I was in line for Dumbo and such. You were brainstorming. You got some great ideas here. I think first thing we can do is you had this fun idea that out of all the guys, the 5 guys involved with the show, so we're talking Montone, Troy, Travis, Sam, and Jim. What would you want to do with each guy for 2 hours, and without being said, it is not sexual.
Not sexual in
not
any
sexual.
nature. No, yeah, I was just thinking these guys are cool, and if we got to hang with them each one for 2 hours, what would you want to do? So let's start with Montone. Okay, let's start with you. I want you to tell me what you think would do if you had 2 hours to hang with Mike Montone.
I had 2 hours to hang with Montone, and this got me thinking that his most memorable bit, as far as I'm concerned at least, was when he followed Handsome Rob to college and we found out how much he liked college. So I would like to take or to go with Mike Montone to a nearby college, chug some beers and throw a pigskin around. That is what I would like to do. Find a quad somewhere and drink some beers and throw a football around. What would you like to do?
That sounds like a great idea, and I'm sure Montone would be up for that.
For sure.
So here's my thing. I get braggadocious a little bit, but I've lost 25 pounds since we started doing this podcast.
I was going to say, you look great on this last show. I know you lost it a while ago, but I was like, my God.
No, dude. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I'm really trying to, I'm 54 now, and I'm trying to really stay in shape, but I'd like to build some more muscle mass that I used to have in my youth and get rid of some of this spare tire. Damn. So I think I would want to, work out with Montone for maybe 2 hours, or go over some nutrition or supplements, or, get some expertise from him on how to, mold this physique that I have into one that
you have a great physique.
Has. Well, you're a good man. All right, so let's move on. What do you think? If you had to hang with Troy, not had to, it would be a treat.
It would be an absolute pleasure.
We got to treat to hang with him on our Zoom here. Absolutely. When we did those shows. But if you had 2 hours to hang out in person with Troy, what would it be?
Man, for me, as much as I respect not just what he does on Jim and Sam, but his music career, as much as I respect that, and that would be cool to see. I love when him and Sam just talk about hanging out and taking down some wangs. I think I would just go to a Hooters, maybe catch them in Florida, catch Florida Troy in Florida, have some wangs, talk a little bit more about Jim and Sam and his life and what there is to do in Florida.
As we've learned, it's probably best that you hang out with Florida Troy than New York Troy, because Florida Troy is a great hang.
Mellow. So mellow. Loves Elvis.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it's kind of be obvious, but I would love to, jam with Troy, play some music, learn how he creates the stuff he does for Black Caviar or Prince Street Bodega. Just really take that all in and see how he works and see what I could steal. Not physically steal, but mentally steal from his musical genius. So, yeah, that's what I'd like to do with Troy, I think.
Yeah, you're a music guy. That makes sense.
Sure.
I think you'd appreciate that. Getting to Travis now. Do you want me to go first with this one?
However you would want to go, man.
Here, I did get a sneak peek at yours. Why don't you go first? I talked about a similar thing, and I don't want to steal this from you. So go ahead.
No, it's true. And you did mention it, that Travis is your go-to guy when you want to plan your perfect Disney trip, right? And, he would be a great resource and a good guy to just sit for 2 hours, getting the maps out, of Disney and looking at the parks and looking at the restaurants and, you should go here, you should go there. This place is really close to this place and that kind of thing. Plus, he's going to do it on a budget too. And, he knows how to enjoy himself, but he also knows how to keep it in line because he's a family man. So, yeah, I would definitely want to spend 2 hours and do the whole let's plan a Disney trip, kind of conversation.
Agreed. And to piggyback off that, and I probably would anyway, because I just had this experience where I had a great time at Disney with my family. Not so much the budget and planning, but I would want him to plan a day. And I think I'm torn between would I want to go to Hollywood Studios with him, which used to be MGM, or the Magic Kingdom that has the more classic Disney rides. There's some new stuff. I would say I would go with him to the Magic Kingdom. I would say, Travis, I need 2 hours with you at the Magic Kingdom. We're going to do your favorite rides or character photo ops or meals first. So I would specifically pick that because it's kind of like classic Disney, and see and no budget. For me, I think like it's going to cost an arm and a leg if you go to Disney. It is. So like,
right. You just experience that no matter what.
For sure. And you get the thing with Disney is you get the value back. Everyone is so nice that works there and so good with families.
So clean and all that stuff.
I would want to see what he does.
You make such a great point. I didn't even think about it, but yeah, if I'm going to have 2 hours of planning, and forget that, I'm just going to ride on his coattails and go hang with him.
You let him take care of it. He knows.
You plan it all, and I get to get 2 hours with the best Disney.
You got to hit it. Yeah, you got to hit it.
And I know.
Maybe he takes you into that exclusive restaurant. What is that? Club 32, I think.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Bum F Jamboree. I'm not sure.
We did walk by it. They were having an outdoor Chip and Dale and some of the bears were having an outdoor kind of dance off. It was kind of cool. But
there you go.
Yeah. So Magic Kingdom with Travis is what I would do.
Fair enough.
Getting to Sammy, man.
Yeah.
Whew.
You want me to go?
You go. I'm still kind of on the fence. I haven't.
All right. So Sam, of course, would be a good hang no matter what you do. But his home studio setup to me is top shelf. It is so cool. He does a lot of stuff by himself, which kind of like you and I do by ourselves, right? And so he has great cameras, great lighting, good audio. He knows how to do it right. And he had some help with Kevin Undergaro. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I believe so. Yes, that is how you say that.
And getting everything set up. So I would want to be invited to this home studio and just pick his brain on how and why he chose the equipment that he did. How about you?
Man, I think two things. I think you're absolutely right. Every time I see him do a broadcast on YouTube. He's great on YouTube from his home studio. I'm jealous I don't have that set up, and I just want to like be there and see it. So that would be awesome. More along the lines of the lines of Troy. As much as we kind of made fun of Sam's fast food choices, that it's always chicken fingers like a little kid, not burgers or steaks or anything else. I might just want to dine with him. And I also loved when they did that. What's the name of the show? Bar Rescue. I love when they did the Bar Rescue. So like, I wouldn't mind.
Sometimes the food may not be fresh, right?
It just didn't taste fresh. Okay, here, I'll be specific. I want to go to Raising Cane's with Sam.
Perfect.
Get Raising Cane's and talk about the show.
Excellent. Well, thank you for indulging me in my little topic here. I just thought it would be fun because as much as we're talking about it, you and I would really like that to happen with each one of those guys. So
absolutely. And we can't forget Jimmy. We can't forget.
Oh, crap. What am I doing here? The man himself.
This might be the most interesting experience.
I gotta go first. Let me go first.
Yeah,
because
you go first.
I totally screwed it up and forgot we didn't get to Jimmy. So here's mine with Jimmy. Because we're men of the same age, I want to do a road trip. He does road trips where he's going to, his comedy, his venues and stuff. I want to do a road trip with Jim so we can discuss, films, TV, and music of the 70s and 80s, because that would be wonderful. And if I had to split it up, if I can only do like maybe 1 hour road trip, I want the other hour spent sitting with him, and I don't have to say anything, just at the comedy table and listening to everybody beat the crap out of each other and just rolling and rolling and rolling. So sorry I forgot you, Jimmy, but never forgotten.
We never really forget Jimmy.
No. What do you got?
That is great. A road. So did you think about anywhere specific you might be going on the road trip?
No, not really. I'd be, it's only 2 hours, so we can't go too far, but it'd be somewhere that Jimmy would fill out of his comfort zone, because that's when I think he's the most hilarious, so putting on hats, doing something like that. Yeah, sure. I kind of was lucky enough to already have this. I would just want to do it again, to have another go at it. But sitting with Jimmy in his green room backstage at a show, got to do it last year, hoping to do it again this year. But it is so cool because you could just talk about the show and comedy. And I talked about, some of our interviews. We were talking about Norm Macdonald right before Norm died. So this was a Chicago show that I was unavailable. I think I was out of town.
You were not able to go, but hopefully we're going to go again soon. He hasn't booked a Chicago gig yet. But,
let's get him here.
But I might have to hit up Johnny Brand Muffins and see. But it was great. That time I'm like, it's kind of like how he does with Ozzy. Like, oh, was I talking too much? Like, should I have left that topic alone? So I think this time I've done it. I'm back there. I'd probably be a little more relaxed. And also when he talks about how he just like compulsively eats pretzels backstage, he 100% does that. He got up like 15 times just eating pretzels. And
that piggy boy at his best. I love it.
Oh, he treats himself because he works hard. So I would do that again.
That's great.
Talk with him, and it's in a comedy setting, and did it after his set. Got to talk about his set. Really cool. I would love to do that again with Jimmy and with you this time.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Then I get 2 for 1. That's probably why I forgot, Jimmy. I get 2 for 1. I get my thing, and I get to tag onto your thing too. So
absolutely,
very good. Let me ask you this. All right, we're moving on a little bit here. What is your most memorable thing from the show that, since we started doing this podcast, which was, I think, the first week of April, if I'm not mistaken, 2023. So a couple of months in now, right? April, May, June, just starting July. So we've done about 3 months. What's your most memorable thing from the show that I think you like the most?
I got a specific kind of memory, and I think it's because I just remember howling. And even though that Jim is at this new place in his life, he's still Jim. There's still a compulsiveness. There's still a mania, especially in relationships. But it was when, I think it's kind of recent too. excuse me, past a month or two, that the whatever kind of hornet it was, when it flew behind the Woody Allen poster, and he was having a domestic dispute with his girlfriend, and things, she was telling him what to do, and it just kind of escalated to where he called her an effing bee, I believe. Just picturing that situation was amazing, and I think it's, Jim is maturing, but you never lose the Jim. I think.
Now the anger's still smoldering underneath,
Right.
the exterior.
How about you? What's your favorite?
Along the same lines, my favorite thing that we've talked about, and it's been a runner pretty much throughout the whole podcast, is domesticated Jimmy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all these things, from his apartment woes with his plumbing and, and the electricity and the Hornet story, as you spoke about, to living with his girlfriend, a whole new adventure for him, and the spray tans and the sleeping arrangements and the cooking issues that they have with the eggs and undercooked, birthday cake, I think, that was going to cause a hospital visit. And then, then my favorite stuff is him not understanding how things work as a domesticated person, and plumbing and grilling. Well, what if I need to grill? Or even party planning, right? When he's trying to plan a party and how much food to have and all that kind of stuff. I love those moments. So for me, that's part of the most memorable thing we've discussed and got to listen to.
Absolutely. And I hope we hear more party planning. I hope his soiree happens.
Well, maybe that happened over this vacation.
True.
I don't know.
We might hear about it. Hopefully, that'd be awesome. You had another thing you wanted to talk about, which is really interesting, because everyone knows we're super fans, but there's always, even with a perfect show with perfect co-hosts and perfect producers, there's always room for improvement. And even if some of that is kind of outside their control, what can improve about the show? What were some things that you would change about the show if you could?
Well, you said it best. I mean, we have a show that we like, or we wouldn't be doing this podcast, right? So I already love the show. And some people would say, but they need to have better guests. But for me, I love it when they don't have any guests, right? When it's just the guys talking about social events, things that happen over the weekend. That's my favorite Jim and Sam kind of moments. But I think if I had to change anything, it would be just remotes. So it could be the man on the street stuff. Get Montone out there more. Get Cooper out there asking stupid questions. But I really would like to see the guys take trips more. I'm sure they would too. But I love when they do the live remotes at different places. They used to do that in Open Anthony a lot more. So I think that they might be going to Toronto or Montreal or one of those for the comedy festival.
Montreal Comedy Festival.
Yeah. So I hope they do that. But gosh, I want them at Edna's hometown. I want them at an amusement park. I want them to come to Chicago so we get to see them. So absolutely. I really like to see more live remotes, if you will. Those were always good. And I know it's a budget thing, but God, I enjoyed those so much. How about you? Would you change anything about the show?
No, there's things I would like to see similar to you, and some of it's outside their control with a budget, or the main thing is the cameras. They deserve to be able to just
true.
cut out some content whenever they want. That's on XM. I mean, just turn on the cameras, let them put out some clips and some stuff online. So that's the one thing that I think they deserve. Another thing, and it might be a little outside their control, but I think when you listen to the past, I think saying bigger guests is fair, because they're a big show, and when it's a big get for them, being someone who interviews people,
right?
I like seeing their approach. I like seeing, okay, we got this guest, it's a big get for us, and then you can kind of tell how Jim and Sam each prepped with their questions and the areas and angles they want to touch on. So I'm an interview kind of connoisseur. I love seeing that approach. So when you get like a big get, it's really kind of a cool kind of case study for me. Live shows 100%.
I agree with you on the big guests. Even though I said I don't really like guests, but when they get the big guests, I don't think, and I'll give you another example of who I think is also good at it, but I don't think there are many people that are good at interviews like Jim and Sam are, because they don't ask the typical, here's a PR guy, here's your questions, you're going to ask him about this. They'll do what they're required to do to get the guest in there, talk about whatever they're, promoting at that time. Right. But they also will go into deep stuff. And I think the guests love that, right? They like talking about other stuff.
Very well. With most guests, like the going back to Opie and Anthony, conversational,
right?
They don't make fun of himself. Like they do a very good job of putting whoever the subject is at ease, I think, and getting a lot out of them.
Right. Sure. And I listened to a little bit. I listened to a little bit of Pardon My Take, the Barstool podcast with Big Cat and PFT. And if you ever get a chance to listen to their interviews when they have guests on, they do such a great job too. they respectfully ask questions that we're all thinking about, right? And so if you get an opportunity to listen to them too, I just really like that
A lot of people
approach.
like them.
Yeah, and it's probably how you and I would ask questions. We'd have our, respectful way of doing it, but I'd be like, so, what's going on with your haircut recently? I seen your hair short, something that's totally off of it, but everybody's thinking about it or something like that.
Stream of consciousness. No, you had a great point, the live shows, because I think you might remember, but I think, years ago, not maybe like 10 years ago or something, there was, I think, a live Opie Anthony show in Chicago, but I think I was out of town. And I remember being so pissed. I'm pretty sure if anyone wants to.
No, you're right. It was. And it was I remember something
like Reggie's or something. Maybe a rock
wrestling was tied to it. So there's some wrestling happening. Yeah. But that was when, they talk about it quite often when the guys came to Chicago and they went to the Sears Tower or Willis Tower.
Sears.
And Sears Tower as we know it. And how deathly afraid Sammy was. And so, that was that trip. But I wish I would have gone and seen them too, but I didn't have a partner in you yet.
There you go.
I don't want to go by myself.
No, we need him here as much as we'll enjoy seeing Jim do a show here. We always do. Or I always do at least. It would just be so great to have the show do a live show here and kind of get to cover that. That would be awesome. So live shows. And I agree. There's a lot of times their best shows and best breaks are just them talking.
Absolutely.
So you don't need a big guest, but I think they deserve it. I think they do a great job with a big guest, and 100% more Montone. We need to hear more Montone.
Absolutely. You're 100% of
that. Stuff. It's great that he shares that with Saray a little bit. She is so unique that it's always awesome. I want more Montone. Me too. I think he's a comedy genius with that stuff.
Me too.
Moving forward. Right, so
go ahead.
No, go ahead. We have a lot in common, I think there.
No, I was just going to go as you were to, we love a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And we sound so critical, but we're not critical of the show. But what is your least favorite break subject? What are you tired of them talking about?
You go first.
All right. So unfortunately, it's each one of these guys' second livelihood, but I'm not up too much on WWE or MMA. So there are other podcasts and the other times when they're talking about wrestling, they're talking about UFC stuff. I don't know as many people on it, and I kind of lose interest during that. So that kind of gets me, but a very close second. And unfortunately, it's been a lot lately is the UFO talk. I loved it initially with Troy and all the, controversies and stuff, but it's nothing's new happening. I think they're frustrated by it too. They have the same breaks as they talk about, but so UFO talk is a close second for me. Do you got anything?
The truth is out there, Chris. The truth is
I was wondering what you're doing there, my brother.
I can't get enough UFO talk. I love it.
Their own, right?
I want eventually I want them talking about how someone FaceTime with an alien. They got close enough to an alien to FaceTime with them. It's irrefutable. You could bring it to Neil deGrasse Tyson's
bring it to the town square.
Exactly. I'm a sucker for UFO talk.
All right.
I'm a UFC fan. I even covered a few fights in my day as a sports writer. I don't know a lot of the current fighters, so I still kind of like hearing about it. It doesn't bother me. Wrestling doesn't really bother me. I really respect how Sam started that whole career for himself.
For sure.
At a much smaller scale, it's kind of like what I did with the Blackhawks. So I have a lot of respect for that.
I just don't follow it enough for it to interest me. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I definitely, I know their passion in both of those things. And Sammy, for sure, he's a little boy and a fan, and he got to live out his boyhood dream, and look what he's doing now.
It's awesome. Impressive. So I have a lot of respect for that. If I had to pick something, I just don't know any wrestlers now or that world at all. But I really appreciate what he does. So I don't mind hearing about it, but that's the thing where it's just kind of a little over my head.
Sure. All right. So I got a little dark in my topics and thinking about things we could discuss today. So bear with me here. But the next thing I started thinking about is, Jim has talked a lot about leaving the show when his contract's up.
Yes.
And let's just pretend that happened now. All right. So if Jim left, who would be the best replacement for Sam to continue with? If Sam kept on doing the show with Troy, with Montone and Travis, if Sam who would be the best replacement if Jim left for Sam to work with?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
So for me personally, for me and my sensibilities and what I would enjoy would be Dennis Falcone.
I didn't think that coming.
And I don't know if it would last very long. But I would want to see that
HR would probably
good,
put an end to that, but yeah, I
yeah,
got you.
yeah. I would want to see that for a good 2 weeks. Give it a college try.
Oh, that's funny.
Sam knows how to get him going. Dennis also, like, he's so naturally funny and good with music, and he knows how to push, Troy's buttons. So that, but what I think would happen, and I think if, this is fun to think about, but I think if anyone leaves, which Jim has pretty much said he's doubled down, he's going to leave. I think that I don't think the show is going to go on, but I don't know. I think Sam would pick Ian Fidance or Mike Cannon. I don't think it'd be anyone else. But who do you see doing Sam?
I saw someone that kind of would fit in well, and there's a couple of reasons why it would work out. He's already in the SiriusXM family. He's a neighbor to Sam. Bob Kelly. Bob Kelly would slide right in there perfectly. He does radio well. He and Sam have this great rapport already. And, Bob is a lot like Jim with some checkered past. So, you don't want to replace Jim, obviously, but you want to have two different types of personalities. And I think Bob would fit in well. So who knows? We'll hopefully don't have to worry about it. Maybe Jim will have a change of heart when the contract's up. But let's flip it a little bit, okay? Let's flip it. If for some crazy reason, right, Sam left before Jim, maybe Vince said, hey, Sam, you're my number 2 now. Come work here full time. If Sam left and the guys remain the same, who would be a best fit for Jim to work with if Sam was not there? You go first.
One name came to mind right away for me, and I'm not really looking beyond that, and that's Florentine.
Oh, yeah. That's a really good one, man. Yeah.
Both have the same manager. Jim Norton started his career with Florentine. They live together in a moldy apartment, and every time Florentine is on the show, you just get more stories, and it's like that. It's like those days never ended. So they have similar interests. I think you would get a little bit of, both of them kind of, ranting about whatever irks them, which is great radio, and I think they do some good interviews together. So yeah, I think that would be. I think for me is a no-brainer because I enjoy them so much together.
Yeah. And here's the thing too: if it was back to what we're talking about, if Jim left, Florentine and Sam would also work very well together too.
All TGI Fridays,
all TGI Friday talk and all the time. But no, I think Florentine would be a great substitute for either of them. But for me, and I have 2 options. One is the dream, right? And you never know. This could be something that would be very cool. Ricky Gervais. If Gervais said, I want to just try doing radio for a year or 2 and join Jim, can you imagine how great that would be? Now, both of them are, you don't have the straight guy in Sam that's kind of the one that's controlling it, but Travis could probably take that role and let these 2 comic geniuses just riff and have fun all the time. I think Ricky would love it. And boy, what a great thing that would be if that happened. But that's a dream, not likely to happen.
Stranger things have happened. And there's been some big, kind of in the early days of XM, but there's been some big kind of celebrities with XM shows. So
that's true.
It's possible. And they have a great rapport. That'd be awesome. I agree.
But more likely if it was that we need somebody to work with Jim if Sam left, Travis could step in right away. He can run the show. He's funny.
Never greedy with his airtime.
No, he knows how to set Jim up. He thinks Jim's funny, but he also thinks Jim's a knucklehead. So yeah, Travis would fit into that role perfectly. So
speaking of Travis, a little controversy here. I would like to bring something to the town square.
Sure.
I would like Jim and Sam fans, if you want to hear us interview Travis, don't be afraid to shoot him a DM or tag him on Twitter.
I hear they're always open.
They are always open, or Threads. I think he's on Threads now. He was a phenomenal interview for my Forbes piece. And it seems like he may not be up for an interview. He might just not be a guy who wants to be, put on
in the
spotlight on him.
Yeah.
I respect that, but I think the town square fans have spoken. And I will say, when we got our last shout out before my vacation, I think, they were talking about I think Sam said the town square is going to talk about Cooper, which we are.
Yeah.
And Jim goes, yes, they'll try to interview you. And right after Jim said that, I don't know if you caught this, Chris. Yeah. I heard what drives Matt Biggins crazy. Travis snickering in the background about being interviewed by the town square. So I
hope there's no bad blood because there's nothing from our side.
Oh no. They're big supporters, but he's starting an interview. Let's get him on here.
I think we should too, and please know, Town Square fans, that we've tried to get everybody we possibly can to come in onto the town square. And sometimes there might be some restrictions that allow, certain people
Sure.
not
I think
able to talk to us.
Yeah.
But I think Travis could. And so we're going to have to.
We haven't made a big push yet for Jim or Sam, trying to build
we
up
understand that. Yeah. But I think we're going to go after Travis pretty hard here.
Everyone tell Travis to come on the show. Let's do that.
Absolutely. All right. Let me stick with my morbid thoughts this time. And I have 2 more segments for you. The first one is, okay, out of the 5 guys, who's most likely to die first?
Called out Travis. Now we're talking about everyone dying.
What would you say? And I can go first if you wanted some time to think about this.
No, I have. Here's my thing. And I think actually this would come up. And if the guys on the show talked about it, I think this would come up. I think because of Sam's childish eating habits and his consumption of, whether you call it soda or pop based on your geography, I think he would be the likeliest to have the shortest lifespan. But also, as a kid, he was pumped full of HGH. So I don't know if he's got this like freak energy or life force still. So
we don't know.
Maybe maybe that offsets it.
I should have caveated this with, we don't want this to ever happen because we love these guys so much.
We would have no show. We would have no show.
We'd have no show, but then also, but no, I can see where you're coming at with, with Sammy's eating habits and chemical stimuli from the past, right?
Yes.
But for me,
how about you?
I think it's going to be, and I hate to say this because he's been on our show, is Troy. He's tucked away his anger and pushed that deep inside him and has done pretty well over the last couple of years, but we know it's right there, ready to come out if need be. So if someone pushed him at the wrong place at the wrong time and he just went after them and some idiot had something else that would, hurt him more desperately or, really take him out, I could see that happening. So I would hate for Troy to have to push a bad situation.
And to give Troy a little credit, he has been avoiding danger.
Those things, yes.
His song was "What's Up, Danger" in Into the Spider-Verse. Don't forget, it was the homeless man, possibly on crack cocaine, with a baseball bat. That made him flee to Florida. So Troy,
he's Florida Troy.
It's buried deep, but he has avoided these situations recently.
Yeah, he's doing great. And I don't, like we said, I don't want any of this.
Don't want anything bad to happen to anybody.
No. All right, so let me stick with it a little bit here.
Yeah.
Out of the 5 guys, who's least likely to skydive? Who would you say would be least likely to go skydiving?
Here's what I think. I think it is Jim. I don't think these kind of adventurous things are up his alley. Even if his girlfriend got into it, I don't think he could be talked into it. I think there'd be a screaming argument over it. He would not go. Sam, I think he's not like that either. But I think if he was with a WWE personality or WWE coworkers, I think he would be coerced into jumping out of a plane and skydiving.
Yeah, I had Sam as my guy because he's a father, and being a father, both you and I are. You think a little bit more about your mortality and what risks you take because you are the one responsible for taking care of these guys. So he probably have that. He's a little fearful, right? He doesn't want danger. He kind of lives his life straight and narrow. And of course, he's pretty strong-willed about, not drinking and that kind of thing. So I think he'd be strong-willed about, I don't need to go skydiving. It's not going to be something I have. Most likely to Montone, Troy. Most likely is Montone for me. Sure. He's an adventurer. He's a jock, if you will. I think he's a deeper thinker than that, but he has jock qualities. Yeah. He has extreme kind of exports qualities, perhaps. So yes. All right. So that was our little fun breakaway for this vacation week for the guys. I can't wait for next week when they're back, because we're back at full force. So they'll be back at full force. Anything that you're looking forward to when we get back with the guys? I'm looking forward to the Threads breakdown, the new social media app from Meta. It's a terrible name still. You're on it. I'm on it. So look for us on there. It will be fun to hear them dissect it. I kind of like the app. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like it. Yeah. So I got to talk to you offline about how I get verified. I'd like to do that. I'm not going to pay for it, but maybe I can get verified now that I'm.
I had an editor who helped me out with that.
There you go. I'm part of this great podcast called The Town Square with one of my friends. So, and he's verified. So maybe he can help a brother out. I don't know. I'm looking forward to hearing about when Jim's girlfriend gets back and what she thinks of the room redecorated, if that did truly happen. And then, of course, it's the tales from vacation, what they did, where they went. And I know that Travis's daughter is just kicking butt in track and field. And I think he's going in watching her upstate. So, I just there's a lot of stuff I want to see what they, took care of while they're on vacation.
100%. And maybe the soiree happened. We don't know. We have to hear.
But, where you'll get your first, news about that after Jim and Sam talk about it, of course.
Yes.
Right here in the Town Square.
Thanks for watching and listening to the Jim and Sam Town Square. Please remember to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell, not Doug Bell, so you don't miss an episode.
And if you're just listening to the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it.